assessment and identification, I chose the financial volatility in Lebanon. The country is in deep financial and political crisis. Banks have been closed since mid-October 2019, and depositors across the country are finding it impossible to gain access to dollar balances. Lebanon crisis developed when the nationwide protests started in October 2019 against high living costs, poor public services, and government corruptions. One such country which has greatly been impacted by not only COVID-19 but also financial instability is Lebanon. Lebanon has been suffering in recent years from lack in economic growth, coupled with high employment rates as well as a drop in currency revenue. The financial crisis came to a head after nationwide protests took place over corruption and mismanagement by the political classes. These protests in turn led to closure of all banks. Referring to volatility in financial markets, the IMF noted that the COVID-19 pandemic has a significant impacted the global financial markets. There have been high drops in stock prices, increase in interest rates in the markets, falls in oil prices, and many more. Given the low resources setting and the country's specific challenges, the government took an aggressive approach towards the containment that included the closure of education institutions and entertainment venues. Government had also put in lockdowns, cancellations of events like sports, public not using public transports, and working from home. Based on these factors, all sectors of the Lebanese economy will be affected. These problems can be seen in a particularly worse in hospitality sectors. Beirut is one of the most famous tourist destination. However, all tourist destinations are now, closed. Flights are not taking off. All trades showing are also being cancelled. With no tourists to spend and no locals to enjoy, all of these businesses are suffering. And considering the economic crisis, many owners are tied and need to lay off their workforces. However, as coronavirus pandemic has been deepening, so has the country's most awful economic crisis, which has been faced in decades. As of September 2019, only about 33% of the entire Lebanese population had been living below the poverty line. In April of 2020, almost 50% of the Lebanese population has fallen below the poverty line. The financial crisis being faced by Lebanon has resulted in additional difficulties for the medical sectors. There is a high scarcity of suggested medical supplies which have been deemed necessary to properly deal with the coronavirus outbreak. Even hospital staffs as well as nurses have raised concerns regarding the failure of governments not providing protection to the staff from the protests as well as risking staff members getting infected. The financial crisis has resulted in a dollar shortage. What do I mean by dollar shortage? A dollar shortage occurs when a country spends more US dollars on imports than it receives on exports. This shortage has restricted the capability of medical supplies importers to order and import these vital medical supplies.